Hello, this is Robert. I'm an attorney here at Tax Resolution Professionals, and we're going to be going over the truth about tax relief companies they don't want you to know about. So, what are tax relief companies? They're professional services firms that are meant to help people deal with back due tax debt, often advertised in the radio and television with claims of settling tax debts for pennies in the dollar. You will see them in high ad placements above actual non CPA firms. When you're searching around, they have the higher ad placements above where your actual search results are. If you start looking for tax attorneys or things like that in search engines, many of them are based in California and Colorado, and most of them also do tax preparation. So here's the first truth they don't want you to know about. Your case can get abandoned at any time. Most tax relief firms are not law firms, CPA firms, or owned by an enrolled agent. If they run into financial difficulty, there's no obligation to complete your case because the owners are not professionally licensed. Here's an example. ABC Tax Relief has bad sales 4 months in a row and has to close. They close and all the clients are left hanging in IRS collections. This happened with Nationwide Tax Relief, Blue Tax, and it's happened with others. Here's a real life example. American Tax Relief was shut down for fraud. While the IRS might have put some collection holds on the cases because they shut it, the government essentially shut it down, they're not finishing up your offer and compromise for you. So these clients were pretty much left to resolve it on their own. So when a licensed professional is hired to complete your case, they have to complete it or they can get their license revoked. When you hire these tax relief firms, you're not really hiring the licensed professional that's working on it. You're hiring the firm to work on it. When they go out of business, that professional worked for the firm. They didn't work directly for you, so they're not obligated to complete it. If you hire a tax law firm to do your case, we are obligated to complete it. Our sales for the month do not determine whether or not we can complete your case. Here's an example. Rick owns a tax law firm with several attorneys practicing tax relief. Sales are down and the firm may go broke. Rick is still obligated to complete your tax case, even if he now lives in his mom's basement. So the partners of the firm, the people that run the law firm, still have to make sure your case gets completed. Even if they're retiring or something, they at least have to find another attorney to take over. And, you got to make sure it's okay to do it. And everyone's qualified. It's not just, oh, we're done. Sorry, everything's bad. So lawyers have to complete your case or you get reprimanded. A tax relief company owned by a salesperson can just close since the salesperson has no professional license and no legal obligation. The obligation to complete your case dies with their corporation or LLC. The other thing is most of them have awful reviews. Considering hiring a tax relief company, do a search. Look at Yelp, look at Google Places, check out their reviews. What you find is going to surprise you. Most of these companies used to use negative SEO back in the day to try to push bad reviews down. I'm not sure that really works anymore, but as time goes on, that won't work at all for sure. They can't hide customer experiences forever. The truth gets told. Bad services and products get weeded out over time due to internet reviews. These companies exist because the average age of a tax relief customer is older than almost all other services and products. Many of them are not looking at internet reviews and just hear Rush Limbaugh or another radio personality recommend it. So, these radio people, they just recommend stuff. I don't care about politics or any of this, but, Rush Limbaugh recommends these tax relief companies and they're usually not the greatest companies. And there's other ones that recommend other companies and it's on the radio all day. And the thing is a lot of these clients are generally older people and they're not looking at the internet reviews. If you're looking at this, then good for you. I've noticed, the average tax relief client probably is mid 50s. That's about what we think it is. This is the other thing. Trustpilot and consumer affair review sites are garbage and manipulated, and these are always pushed. You will see tax relief companies promoting these sites as legitimate review sites. They mean nothing. Currently, Icon Fitness is in the process of suing Consumer Affairs over the review process, and they're going to win that lawsuit if it's not already over by now. Trustpilot is not trustworthy at all. It is pushed huge, and you can tell the reviews are fake and negative ones are removed. Yelp is probably the most trustworthy source right now for reviews, even though there are some discrepancies in that. Although they are manipulated to a degree too, based on if you pay Yelp. That's not my opinion. That's just what I've heard from people. Why are Yelp and Google reviews negative while Trustpilot and Consumer Affairs show positive? Because Trustpilot and Consumer Affairs are garbage. But what about a BBB? What about BBB accreditation? Well, BBB really means nothing. Any open business can get it for $500. You can still file a complaint even if you're not BBB accredited. Tax relief companies love to throw the BBB out there or some of these other professional organizations because the BBB used to mean something back in the old days. Now it doesn't really mean anything. Most real people are going to give reviews on Yelp. They're going to go to Google Places. check those. That's your new BBB. When the tax relief company closes, the BBB does not come and save you. And really, you're not going to see many positive reviews on BBB either. It's just mostly complaints. So Google Places and Yelp will actually let you see people's good experiences and bad experiences. So let's look at some reviews. We'll look at some complaints for tax relief companies and their Yelp pages. I picked two random tax relief firms. Both use radio advertising, and one is very popular nationwide. Anyone considering hiring any tax relief firm, even a law firm or CPA firm for that matter, should look up their reviews. There are a lot of poor quality lawyers and CPAs too. This industry is plagued with complaints and people getting ripped off. It is just more likely to happen with a tax relief company than it is with a law firm. So this company here, we got 23 reviews, we got 3 stars. You know, for a product in Amazon, that's something you would try. Maybe try a restaurant with 3 stars. You really shouldn't be trying someone handling your tax case with 3 stars. That's not really that good. And this particular company, considering how much they are advertised, to only have 23 reviews total is kind of odd. And you're going to find when you go in the not recommended reviews, there's a whole bunch more in the not recommended section. One thing I should also say about the not recommended section is on the good side of things too, we actually have clients that will go and leave a review and they're not going to sit around on Yelp all day. I don't either. And so the review, because they just came to leave the one review for our site, gets marked as not recommended because they're not active on Yelp. So that happens as well on the good side and on the bad side. But these companies are able somehow to get a lot of their reviews pushed to that not recommended section. And I do recommend checking that because you'll see a lot of experiences that sometimes are relevant and you might want to read. Okay, so let's check this one out. This one is from 2018, update 530. They're forcing me to go to the BBB. Like the BBB is really going to do anything. They offered a refund. After offering a full refund, Marilyn went back to her management, and they offered me a 50% refund now, and the balance after they changed review. Okay. Whatever you do, do not give this company hard-earned money. They will absolutely do nothing for you. Okay, great. Here's another one. Do not hire this company to handle any of your tax needs. They're a complete waste of your time and money and a complete scam. And this is, I'm going down to the bottom because I'm just going to paraphrase this here. At the time of my follow-up call, my assigned person didn't even know anything about my case and told me he would have to look it over and call me back in about 30 minutes, which he did. Then he proceeded to waste my time, regurgitate the information from the original letter. So it looks like the people don't really know what's going on at this place when they're working on it. You know, a lot of these places, I'm not sure on this particular firm, but, you know, people are assigned 200 plus cases per person. That's a lot to do. Here's another one, 2.5 stars, 7 reviews. I mean, yeah, you can hire anything with 2.5 stars. I don't know. I probably wouldn't try a restaurant or an Amazon product with 2.5 stars, would you? So why would you have them do your tax relief case? Here we go. Buyer beware. Oh, this one was easy. I only had to cut and paste one section because there was 2 negatives right there in a row. Buyer beware. I would highly recommend you stay far and clear of this place. I don't even know where to begin. Many of the other reviews state exactly what I went through also. They are your best friends when it's time to collect your money, then treat you like you're at the DMV when you question anything. P.S. I know fake reviews when I see them. These guys have a ton of fake reviews, so they're at 2.5 stars with fake reviews. That means it's probably mostly complaints. Here's another one, Alfonso D. Do not come to this place for help if you have IRS problems. It's a waste of time and money. You have a better chance dealing with the IRS yourself. It's a scam. They are terrible on calling you back and answering emails. This place deserves a negative 5 stars. Okay. That's tax relief companies. I mean, and that's just what it is. So since they do not rely on referrals, good reviews, or content-based advertising, they have very high client acquisition costs. Many tax relief companies are paying for expensive radio and television ads, live call transfers from lead services. These run from $45 to $200. I believe the average now is somewhere between $65 and $100. Internet leads, which are like submission forms that people submit to these random lead generating sites. Those are about $25 to $40 most of the time. I've been told the average client acquisition cost for many tax relief firms is about $1,500. And someone told me this is probably almost 5 to 7 years ago. This means they pay $1,500 in advertising costs to acquire one client. That's a big CAC. All of this goes into your case fee and is why tax relief companies are usually more expensive than real tax law firms or CPA firms. So how do tax relief companies calculate fees? Most are really going for 10 to 12% of your total tax due, but many have a minimum fee and other fees that can be worked in there. as well as doing tax preparation. One tax relief firm that is shown on Rush Limbaugh's show was charging a $1,500 fee if the case goes beyond 1 year. And this is kind of in the fine print. People really weren't that aware of this, according to one of the complaints that we had read. Good chance if you have a self-employed offering compromise, it's going to go past 1 year. That happens all the time. They almost always charge way too much for tax returns. The one I worked at charged $450 a year for basic W-2 returns, and that was in 2008. Pretty much you can go to H&R Block. I don't know. I think it's like $50 or something like that to get it done. Some tax attorneys charge too much for basic tax returns too. I tell people, if we have a very simple case and you have very simple tax returns, just do it yourself, or you can go to H&R Block. I can't add any expert anything to a tax return that's just a basic W-2 if there's no mortgage interest, there's no anything, there's nothing a tax attorney is willing to add. You're just paying more for nothing. And these tax relief firms are charging $450 a year for the most basic tax returns. If you have a basic W-2, sometimes it is easier to just do it yourself or have a non-tax relief CPA do it. I don't recommend going to a completely non-licensed person. If you're in California, you want to have someone that at least has CTEC. Okay, it's called CTEC, or that's an enrolled agent CPA tax attorney. In Nevada, where we're at, there's a lot of just unlicensed preparers. I do not recommend using an unlicensed preparer. So here's another truth. Hourly attorney is often much cheaper, which I kind of discussed before. So there's some advertising from tax relief companies that state you should not hire a tax attorney because they're too expensive. I've seen this on ads before, on internet ads. That is true for some tax attorneys because paying an attorney to learn is an expensive process. Many tax attorneys aren't really tax relief experts, and I've seen them do terrible jobs in tax relief cases. Tax planning and tax preparation is not the same as tax relief. Have you ever heard of a jack of all trades, master of none? That is a lot of lawyers. Tax is a huge area. There's no way one person can master it all. Especially here in Las Vegas, you see a lot of lawyers that just do like 5 different things that have nothing to do with each other. And you can't do injuries and tax and this and that. You can't be experts at all those. There's just not enough time in the day, and it's too much material. The truth is, when you hire an experienced tax relief attorney, you will end up paying less total in case fees in almost any situation versus a tax relief company. I say that us personally, we probably save a lot more money over most CPA firms too, because our typing speed is very high. I type about 100 words a minute. Almost everybody on our staff types 80 or above. Here's the other truth they don't want you to know. You can do it yourself, okay? Getting a garnishment release and offer compromise accepted can be difficult, but it is not magic. The truth is, almost anything an attorney can do, technically you can do it yourself if you're representing yourself. So corporations need attorneys, class actions you can't do yourself, as far as I know. We offer a complete do-it-yourself tax guide at trp.tax/tax help, or just go to trp.tax and you'll see it at the top. You can click it. It explains a lot of these processes, how to do them start to finish, with the forms. Everything is there. However, doing it yourself can be a headache and time consuming, especially the cases in collections. You're calling the people and dealing with it. When we do it, there's a special phone number that we call. On top of that, our firm in particular uses a program called Call and Queue that puts you to the front of the line, so you're waiting even less on time and actually saves you guys money as well. But is it worth the time to sit at home and learn how to do it? You're also wasting the time learning what to do, or just get it handled right away. It's really up to you. If you can have somebody else do it, I would have somebody else do it. It's easier. But if you can't, really just fill it out. It's like fixing your car. If your car absolutely has to get fixed and you can't afford to get the car fixed, you probably should. I'm not advising anything dangerous, but what I would do is I absolutely could not. I would buy the parts and figure out how to do it. But that's exactly what this is like. However, if there's a way to get somebody else to do it, I'd much rather have somebody else do it. I'd rather not touch a car and fix it. Doing it yourself, continue. So you can't afford help, just do it yourself. The thing is, don't just go submit a settlement right away. You're going to want to follow the right procedures. You want to call, see what's required to file, all that. Some cases you want to file a settlement right away, some you don't. But if you just can't afford anything, you got no assets, barely making it, usually the best option is file what returns need to be filed. You don't always have to file everything. If they've done some tax returns for you, sometimes you only need to file a few years or something. Figure out what years you need to file them, and submit a settlement, and you'll probably get it. Should I hire a tax relief law firm to do it for me? If you're not sure what you qualify for, you don't want to do it yourself, or have a business, you are best off hiring a tax relief law firm to do it for you. You save the time and headache of dealing with it, and you ensure the best result. Some law firms will also help you prep your own settlement for a smaller fee too, and we also do that. So you want to prep it all yourself, but you want someone else to look at it. We do that in like 2 little sessions. You send us the paperwork. We take all these notes on it. We tell you what to do. Then we review it one more time, and you send it out yourself. You represent yourself. We get paid. You get a very reasonable amount paid to, get it professionally looked at and be confident in your result. And if you're not going to get it, we're going to tell you, hey, settlement's not going to happen here. We're just going to be realistic about it. So here's the other thing I don't want you to know. Paperwork is required to get garnishment releases, tax returns done, and offering compromise accepted. There's some exceptions to getting garnishment releases without paperwork. Sometimes it can be done, but paperwork is almost always required in these cases, and that's not really expressed to a lot of people on the phone call. A lot of firms do not tell you in sales call there's going to be some paperwork required, on your part. So usually it is not that hard to get. It's usually proof of some expenses, bank statements for the last 3 months, sometimes 6 months, sometimes a little bit longer, your last pay stub or your last tax return, sometimes a profit and loss statement. It's mostly stuff that you can pull up online, or if you're running a business, you can have your accountant do. Or, when we do it, if our firm does it, we just help you prepare it and we send you examples. And it's not that hard to get this stuff together. But if you don't do anything, sometimes people just think, it's just all going to stop. Everything stops when you hire an attorney. No, you have to get them the paperwork as well. We get people that call us all the time, they hire an attorney and it's magic. It can be magical if you get the paperwork to us. $245,000 debt was settled for $100. That is kind of magical. And, that happens. That can happen quite often. We had another guy, $260,000 was $500. That particular one, though, the $245,000 for $100 is actually way less than pennies on the dollar. It's 0.4 of a cent on the dollar. So here's some notes and conclusions on tax relief companies. Okay. These companies come and go. So many have closed in the past 10 years. It is hard to trust them to stay open. J.K. Harris, Blue Tax, Nationwide Tax Relief, American Tax Relief are just a few examples. There's also Tax Masters, which that was technically owned by a CPA, but they were crooked too, and they're gone. Fees are high due to high client acquisition costs, and that is passed straight on to you. Most have terrible reviews and horrible track records. We can't trust Trustpilot or Consumer Affairs. Pretty much you're better off doing it yourself or hiring a tax law firm to do it for you. For a free case evaluation with one of our attorneys that are experts in tax relief, just give us a call. You can reach us at 888-515-4TAX or visit us online at trp.tax. If you go to trp.tax as well, our live chat is there, our tax help guide is there. Even if it's something we can't help you with, we'll at least point you in the right direction or point you to the right part of our guide so you can do it yourself. Thanks for watching and have a great week.